So I stand by. I am reporting. I had it definitively said today that there wasn't a contract whenever Konnor Griffin was being called up. Maybe it's not so coincidental that the 9140 is the final number that he ends up signing for. I stand by. There was no contract in place, but it doesn't really matter right now because he is a Pirate for the next 9 years. Good morning and welcome to OffBeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf. This is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates. And there is no bigger story today. There may not be a bigger story the rest of this year. The Pittsburgh Pirates and Konnor Griffin are in agreement for a 9-year, $140 million contract that could escalate up to $150 million. This is what all that speculation was for. This was the buildup. This was the big move everyone felt this offseason, coming into the season. Like, if there was going to be one giant swing, it would be this. And there wasn't a contract in place whenever he came up. There was optimism. There had been some rounds of negotiating. There was more work that was done in that week that he was in Indianapolis and the week that he was up here in Pittsburgh. But on Tuesday night, offer goes live. It gets accepted. He is a Pirate for the next 9 years. And this is one of the most influential moves, I think, in the history of the franchise. It's not the first extension that I've covered, but I want to look at a couple of them, because the Cabrian Hayes one in 2022, that was kind of like a block, a building block, just something to try to set a foundation. Like, hey, we're going to try to put some roots down. Now, obviously, that contract didn't work out. Cabrian is no longer with the franchise. Nobody was, complaining at the time, though. I still think that he will, at the end of the day, produce more than the value of the contract. But it just wasn't serving the Pirates at the point where they did trade him to the Reds. They did get a prospect for him, so it's not like, they were eating money or whatever. It just was what it was. But it was just kind of like a side of like, okay, we're trying to enter a new phase of this rebuild. The Brian Reynolds and Mitch Keller extensions were, hey, here are two guys. They have been all-stars for us. They have been loyal to us. We want them to be part of this organization moving forward. This rebuild is probably going to extend beyond what their normal 6 years would be. So we're buying out free agent years. We are going to keep them. We're not going to talk about trades right now, keeping them here. That works. Konnor Griffin, as Bob Nutting said on Wednesday, it was part he, trying to improve the 2026 team, him being on the roster and the organization believing that the best version of this 2026 Pirates has Konnor on the roster, and also the long-term move. And I'm more concerned about the long term with this, because with Brian Reynolds and even Mitch Keller's extensions, there was still the belief that, like, yeah, this team isn't a finished product. And we don't know, candidly, how much they're going to contribute to a playoff team still, or future playoff team. Reynolds a little more definitive, but Keller, we just heard the trade rumors, the last couple off seasons. I don't think Keller will, at the end of his time in Pittsburgh, walk as a free agent, but we'll see. We'll see down the road. Konnor Griffin is signing at a time whenever there is an expectation to make the playoffs. It is money up front that could have gone to the 2026 team, but instead it's going up front for him to put his own roots down, be able to buy a house, be able to, find a place in Pittsburgh, find a place in Mississippi, take care of his family, like he said during the press conference, do all those things. But then there is the long-term implication of it. And whenever I talked to Bob Nutting during the home opener, he brought up that there are going to be leaner years in Pittsburgh. There are going to be good years. There are going to be windows, and there are also going to be leaner years. And this extension kind of indicates, at least to me, that maybe the leaner years are further away, that it's really just not in the vision right now. That it's not just trying to compete in 2026, it's also trying to compete in 27, 28, in future years. Because there is a foundation in place. There are some good prospects still down in the minors. Whether you want to say someone like Esmerlin Valdez or Antoine Kelly, who could, be part of the 2016 potentially, or someone who is in A ball like Seth Hernandez, who might be in the majors in, 27, 28, probably 28, if I had to take a guess. But those types of developments and being like, yeah, Konnor is just going to be here. He is going to be part of it. Organization needed a face. And as much as like Paul Skeens has become the face of the organization in the last couple of years without a long-term deal, it's also had this air of he's here for now. Paul Skeens, unless there is something truly dramatic in this next CBA, I don't see him being a lifer in Pittsburgh. Like something absolutely earth-shattering would have to happen in this CBA for the Pirates to have the money, the resources, the floor, other teams not paying for a ceiling for Paul to have a second contract with the team outside of these 6 years. That focus is kind of shifted towards Konnor Griffin, of the guy that, like, hey, think about 2035, a year that doesn't even sound real right now. Like Konnor Griffin, 2034, Konnor Griffin's still going to be your shortstop for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's what that's saying. We're going to take a break here. We're going to look a little more at this contract here in a minute.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
The Pirates have their answer at shortstop for most of the decade to come. So what needs to happen for this to be a successful contract? Obviously, if Konnor reaches his potential and becomes this MVP candidate and shows the world why he is the top prospect in baseball, this is going to be an enormous steal for the Pirates. It'll go down as one of the best contracts in baseball history if that happens. And, on Griffin's side, you can't really be too mad if you overperform a $140 million contract, or if you get the extra escalators and it becomes $150 million. If that happens, gosh, you still got $150 million and another chance at a bite at the apple in free agency 9 years from now, where he will be 28, 29 at the time. That is ridiculous. He will still be able to get a primo contract potentially down the road. That the best case scenario is very glowing for the Pirates. The worst case scenario, I kind of see it like a Brian Hayes thing, where he just proves to be this great glove, this guy who can create great exit velocities, but maybe doesn't put it all together for an offensive season, could steal some bases, can make impacts in some ways, but is just a glove first player, but with a high floor. The glove provides him a high floor The bat, we still need to see at the major league level. I mean, I don't know if I don't want it to sound like criticism because he's, 19 years old. A lot of this is just, he's got to learn the major league game. He has to get the timing. That's the same for any player in his shoes. And a lot of those players aren't teenagers. There's not a lot of pro ball experience in general. If he doesn't catch up to those major league fastballs that I've been, harping on about, if he doesn't catch up to those, breaking balls that are falling out of the zone, it does paint an uglier picture because, like I said, this becomes the Ke'Bryan Hayes contract. There's just two key differences. One, Griffin is playing a more premium defensive position at shortstop. Two, Konnor Griffin's contract is for $60 million more, and it's longer. And while the Pirates are able to, pull the parachute on Ke'Bryan in his contract with the Reds because it was so front loaded and the Reds were willing to take the risk because the contracts were, $7, $8, $9 million, the rest of the way. Griffin's contract is going to escalate by year. It's going to have a normal structure where he's got a signing bonus money right now, but he's not going to make a lot in terms of like actual salary. And then whenever he reaches arbitration, he's going to make more money there. And whenever he would have been a free agent, he is going to make more money on top of that. So while Ke'Bryan's contract came with, kind of a soft escape clause for the Pirates, there isn't one for Konnor. And I don't know the terms of, how much he is going to be making any given year, but if there are going to be years where he's making $15, $20 million, he's going to need to hit also. The Pirates have all the confidence in the world that he is going to hit. They wouldn't have signed this contract if he didn't. He would still be in AAA probably if they didn't have that. Because today, April 9th, would have been the last day he could have been promoted and still accrued a full year of service time, which is why the Pirates are eligible for that PPI draft pick, potentially, if Konnor wins Rookie of the Year or he finishes in the MVP at the top of that list. So like there's ways that the Pirates could have said, you know what, the draft pick is enticing, but we need to just hedge our bets a little bit. We are going to keep him down in the minors for a couple more weeks. We are going to risk that he is not going to win Rookie of the Year, that he won't get the full year of service time, and we have this year of control, extra year of control. They could have gone that route, but that, in their eyes, wasn't serving the 2026 team best. It wasn't serving the player best, so they went this route instead. And they are taking that extra risks that could have been mitigated if they had waited for this contract. But at that point, it was only going to get more expensive. It really did kind of feel like if Konnor Griffin was ever going to sign with the Pirates, this was it. This was the opportunity. And if they come back, I'm not saying that, they couldn't have come back in like a year or so and tried to figure something out, but this was the Pirates' best shot. And they took it. And it was a long process, weeks, trips to Mississippi, multiple offers on both sides being exchanged. It was a long trip. They have their man, though. They have their guy who is going to be the face of the next 9 years of this franchise. He's going to need to produce because this building a competitive team around him, it really is going to be around him. As good as he is probably going to be as good as this Pirates team is. They need him to produce. They're willing to make the bet. This is a good day in Pirates history. This is the type of swing that an organization like this needs to make. You feel good for the young man of how he's locked in place to a place that he wants to be in. Now it's just the next 9 years. Thank you so much for listening to Offbeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you find fine podcasts, or check out the YouTube if you want to see the video version and see me here in section 322 talk to you. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.